Thank you very much. The topic of empowerwomen.org is all about women's economic empowerment. I'm not going to talk about women's economic empowerment. I think there has been a lot of discussion around it, just now in the latest panel, but previously in these 2 days of S.H.E Summit. What I'm going to do is to give you a tool, a platform, a community where you can continue these discussions at empowerwomen.org. And before I go into further details, I would like to show a video that kind of tells it all, what we are trying to do at UN Women. Thank you so much. So empowerwomen.org is all about bringing all of us together into one platform, into one space for discussions, sharing of resources, and talk about these issues related to women's economic empowerment. This started in 2011 when UN Women was formed. In 1st of January, we kicked off UN Women. And together with the government of Canada, we set out to organize a conference on women's economic empowerment. And together, as an outcome of that conference, we decided that we needed this platform because we are too siloed in this space. We are governments working on their side, the UN, we have international organizations, and the private sector that are increasingly interested in corporate social responsibility and making good within their companies. So this is really the space that we all can come together. And just to give you some ideas, we have a group of community champions that have been amazing, and we have just had a call for other champions to come on board. And they're regular people, like all of us, and who are just interested in either giving back or learning about economic empowerment or how they can, in their communities, make a difference for women. So the opportunity that I would like to present to you today is to come to our platform, registered. And what we have now, if you're familiar with the Beijing Platform for Action, there was an agreement where all of the governments agreed to drive gender equality and women's empowerment in 1995. And leading up to 2015, on our platform, we are going to have discussion on each of those topics as they relate to women's economic empowerment. We are starting next week. We are looking on women and the environment. And we are linking it to economic empowerment on how women entrepreneurs, how women workers, how women are surviving disasters, natural disasters, and the issues around that, linking the economic and women's livelihoods and businesses and work with the green agenda. And what might also be very interesting is in July, we are focusing on women's leadership, women in decision making, and we are going to focus on specifically on women in the private sector. So these are some of the opportunities that we can make a difference. We can bring the content to the governments as they prepare themselves for this 20-year review next year around women's empowerment and gender equality more broadly. Other opportunities that we are building on right now is we are creating a blog, and we want to hear from women and their stories. We are setting up a business hub that we will launch in September. And in this business hub, it will be an opportunity for women entrepreneurs to show what they are doing and to be able to connect with other companies, such as the larger companies, and be able to sell to them, to be visible to the larger companies who are actually looking for women. And every time we speak with this large corporation, they ask us as UN Women, where are the women? And we are supporting them in finding the women entrepreneurs, and one way is through empowerwomen.org. So we launched in September at the General Assembly last year, and since then there's been a major traction for women and men, and it's very interesting to see that maybe not half of them, but a huge share of our membership are men who are interested in driving learning about women's economic empowerment. And I've seen that as being a current theme throughout the S.H.E Summit, to have more men engaged, and that's what we also have. We have basically members from every country in the world. With the largest groups come from the US and Canada, because we are here, but also from India, Kenya, Egypt, and Mexico, and we have other countries where the people are coming and they want to talk about these issues. So we would like you to get involved, whether it is through sending in a story about something in your life related to women's economic empowerment, or whether it is to participate in these discussions that we're organizing. So I was mentioning that next week we start with the environment, in July around decision making. The girl child is the focus in August. In October and in September and October, we'll focus on women in the economy and women in poverty, which is the core mandate of our platform. So, and then it goes on till next year. So there will be many other topics on women in media, women in ICT, women in education, or girls in education. So this is great opportunities for whatever interest you have to get involved and engaged. At this moment, we have a library where we have more than 1,000 publications around women's economic empowerment. We have a network with our members. We have the discussion circles, and we have a learning center. And what we are doing right now is to also help provide a service platform for our members, for women in developing countries that don't necessarily have access to certain trainings, and we want to bring in the private sector, academia, and those who have free resources available, so those can be shared with women in developing countries. Because we know that they don't have equal access to these learning opportunities. And so you might ask, okay, so how are you connecting them? These women in developing countries, do they have access to the internet? Many of them increasingly do have a mobile phone, smartphone. Our knowledge gateway, empowerwomen.org, is available on the smartphone. For those of you who have it, might already have seen how it looks. But also, we are working with companies like Microsoft and Intel to really help women who don't have access to get the training on how to use it and how to connect. We are working through NGOs and networks to get the word out and for them to feed the voices of these women who are not connected back to our platform. So through the blog, through the e-discussion, we hear stories from women who are connected, but about women who are not. And that's what we want to hear. We want to raise those issues so we can make a difference in those countries, and we can together drive advocacy and really try to make a difference. Just to give you one example on what we have done, and I'm running out of time, but in our colleagues in Iraq, they were saying, we have been tasked by the government to help them to develop a procurement law that is taking into account women entrepreneurs. What do we do? So we called on our community and we said, come please and help us. And we got amazing responses from all over the world on how can we help these women in Iraq to have a better life. And for the women entrepreneurs to have better opportunities. So these are the kinds of ways that we can be helping as a community to specific women in specific countries. So I'm out of time, but I hope to see you all on empowerwomen.org. Thank you.